So this week we had a nice surprise in the mail. We received a Nintendo 3DS XL, which, as you can see from the box, is a bigger version of the 3DS. It's got 90% larger screens. What that means is that the upper screen is 4.88 inches and the lower screen is 4.18 inches compared to the 3DS, which has an upper screen of 3.53 inches and a lower screen of 3.01 inches. So we're going to take a look at what's inside the box. As you may notice, the box is actually quite a bit smaller than the original 3DS box, which we have here. There's a size comparison. The reason for that is that this version of the 3DS XL doesn't actually come with a docking station like the original did. Now, inside the box you've got your usual instruction manual, which is surprisingly thick. We haven't had a look through, but we're not entirely sure why it's that thick. It's not exactly a complicated machine. We've also got the AOR codes and your various languages quick start guides. Then you've got the charger, which is the same as the DSi 3DS charger. It's just the usual. If you have a 3DS, your charger will do fine. You won't be able to use the charging dock, however. And then there's the console itself, which, as you can see, is pleasingly large. We'll just do a comparison here between this and the original 3DS. That's quite a difference. You really notice it when it comes to the screens, however. The 90% larger does make a big difference when it comes to gameplay, particularly if you're going to be playing in 3D. So we get rid of this. Now, the changes to the hardware itself. The finish of the device is actually matte rather than glossy, and you mightn't think that that makes that much of a difference, but it actually does. It makes it a lot easier when it comes to pressing the buttons and getting into your gameplay. You'll also notice at the bottom that the select, home and start buttons here are actually physical buttons this time around, rather than being one single unit with the buttons underneath. In addition to that, you've also got the 3D slider. Now, on the previous units you could just slide it up and down, it didn't lock into place. However, here you can lock it into off, which is quite handy if you don't fancy playing a game in 3D or you're running low on battery. Another nice feature is that it's actually got multiple locking positions for the screen, so you can play it like this and then it clicks back. On the original, which we have here, it only clicked in the back position, which wasn't really that much use since most people would tend to play it like this. However, that's being rectified and it works quite well. Now, because of the larger screens, there have been concerns that the battery would suffer. Fortunately, there's actually been an 86% increase in the battery performance. Now, that doesn't mean it's almost going to be twice as long. It does mean that because of the bigger screens and the extra power that's needed, that you will get longer out of a charge than you did out of the 3DS. With the larger battery, however, it has gone up quite a bit in weight. It now weighs 336 grams, which is a 46% increase. It's not heavy enough to cause any problems, but just be wary that it has gotten a bit heavier. Now, one of the things that people were expecting from the 3DS XL was the addition of a second analog stick. The Circle Pad Pro is available for the existing 3DS. It's not compatible with this version, although there will be a release coming soon. Maybe it's a bit of a missed opportunity, but we can see Nintendo's line of thinking. If they were to add the second analog stick to this, then people will be complaining that there's games coming out that they can't play on their original 3DS without picking up the Circle Pad Pro. Then finally, you'll notice when you get it open that there is actually a 4 gig SD card with this rather than the 2 gig that came with the 3DS. Now, the reason for that is that Nintendo first party titles are now going to be available from day one for download, which makes it an awful lot easier than having to line up and go to your local game store. Now you can just wake up in the morning, download it, and it's ready to play as soon as it's down. Now, we mentioned that there was no charging cradle with this. The dock that came with the original 3DS, obviously it's a little bit too small. Now, you will be able to buy this separately. we believe. I haven't seen any prices or release information for that yet, but we do believe that it is coming. So that's the 3DS XL, and we're going to be taking a look in greater depth at it very shortly. So you can check out clickonline.com for more.